I don't think she's gonna turn evil specifically. Like, I don't even think she's gonna join the dark side. I think what might happen is maybe she gets captured, something like that, and then maybe Finn has to go save her.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, the thing is, he's supposed to be out and hurt, and it's just like, you know, she's with Luke Skywalker, like, and then maybe Finn has to go save her. But
yeah, well, there is a theory about, you know, how she might kind of be attracted to the dark side while he's being pulled to the light side. So there's like a reverse dynamic between the two. There's a theory about, you know, how she might. Oh, surprise! We're live.
I was about to say.
Yeah. Somebody hit mute.
That's right. So, you know, everybody, we're here. We were just talking about some Star Wars, a trailer drop, but we're going to chat about that in a little bit, you know, whether that was real or not. There's a question about it. So that's what we were just talking about. But welcome to the show. It's the 25th episode. I can't believe it. We've been doing this for not consistently, but 25 freaking weeks. That's crazy to me. That's awesome. So it's a milestone. So we have some big news to talk about. We're going to talk about Logan, the big old movie that came out this weekend. So spoiler alert, I liked it. But we'll get into a little bit more detail about that. And if you guys have some info in the chat, you know, opinions, you know, questions about the movie, you know, things like that you want to share, by all means, we'll call them out as we go along. So with that being said, we got that to talk about. And a couple of things have happened this week that got me sort of thinking about, and it happens kind of every, and we don't really have one right now, and I should turn my camera on. Every con season is a question about etiquette. How do you act at a con, and things to do, things not to do, things that the you know, the retailers and the booth should do or not do as well. So it kind of works both ways, and then that can go over, spilling over to you know, when you're at your shop, you know, digging through some long boxes and your elbows are out and this and that. So there's some certain etiquette there, and we can also talk about what that means for the online community too. But getting way ahead of ourselves, let's first do some catch up. But before we do that, let me give a shout out for Mr. First in the Chat, Comically Flawed. What's up, man? Glad to have you here. Alex, the comic quarter's here. Comic board is here. So welcome everybody. Glad to have you. But let's go through everybody here. Well, not everybody. You will notice we have one panel member absent who may or may not join us. Apparently he's got to cook up some cookings, some fixins. So so he may or may not join us later on. What's up, Backwoods? Nice to have you here, man. So it'll be the three of us right now, the three horsemen instead of the four horsemen. Let's start doing a little bit of catch-up since episode 24. Let's start with Mr. Justin. How's it been for you?
Good. You know, good fun week. I was lucky enough to go see Logan on Friday. Sweet. So got it out of the way early this weekend.
Yeah.
And while it was full, it wasn't like overly crowded. Then you know, had to go back to my local shop this week or over the weekend. I had to pick up a short box, man.
Sweet.
Run out. You always need more space when you're a comic book collector. You always need more space. But you know, I was lucky enough while I was there looking at books, I randomly walked by B and I found some Beta Ray Bill, like one shots and miniseries stuff that I picked up. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, nice. That's cool. So you got like is it like the Thor Corps or something that he's part of?
Yeah, that's part of this story.
Yeah, I see that in the back.
Yeah. And I actually did pick up the first two parts of that also because I needed it.
Nice.
I had parts 3 and 4. I didn't have 1 and 2.
That happens. Like you're digging through, and they always have like they don't ever have that first freaking issue. Mm-hmm. Get the others, but you know.
Like, oh well, I'll get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, normal, good, fun stuff like that.
Sweet. Sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
All right, BostonChris, buckshot.
Just, you know, doing my thing. You know, I wanted to go out to my local shop and grab some new books, but then different shop of mine was having a pretty big sale, so I was just like, you know what? It was going to be a light week for me anyway, so I decided to go ahead and, you know, get a whole bunch of back issues. I think I did pretty well. I ended up getting a good chunk of the original Secret Wars.
Nice.
A nice couple Steranko covers for the second series of Nick Fury. The second appearance of the Defenders. So that was pretty cool. And then what else did I get? Oh yeah, Justin has seen it. I got to show it though. I do love this cover a lot. So Justin showed this a couple weeks back, but I ended up picking up this. So
yes,
nice. And then
you got it too, didn't you, Jesse?
I sure did.
Yeah,
I sure did.
We've all got that one now.
Yeah, the great cover. They were doing a lot with like the superheroine or whatever, kind of like in that pose on the cover. There's a few of them like that are pretty cool.
Yeah, and the first appearance of Caliban, that was kind of cool too, and that in honor of the Logan movie. And then a couple of books that came through on the mail call. I got one of my top 10 books, so I picked up Saigyo Jimbo #1.
Nice.
Yeah, and then another one that came in the mail, and I thought this is, I saw it for a really good deal, and I was like, you know what, never read the story, but I read through it, and this is actually a really cool story. Spider-Man versus Wolverine. Really cool story, and actually it has I guess a moment that people don't talk about as much, within the book, and so plenty of them are out there. So go get it. You could probably get it really cheap. I don't want to ruin anything because I like the story. I thought it was a really good one shot. So definitely worth picking up.
Nice. Sounds like you got some good books there.
Yeah, pretty good weekend.
Yeah, cool.
Nice.
I've had the past couple weeks of pretty light New Comic Wednesday pulls for whatever reason. And the books that I did get, it was like predominantly DC, and then like everything else was like, say I got 5 books, 3 of them were DC, then I got an independent and 1 Marvel, right? So that's how it's been for me. So that gets freed up a little bit to do some back issues. I did find a couple which were cool. I got some here. I'll show them in a minute.
Here.
Yeah, and I'm actually trying to get rid of some books. I have like a bunch of books up on eBay and like some different places trying to sell. And then, just to kind of free up space, you were talking about space being an issue. That's an issue for everybody, for all of us, right, in this hobby. And then I got some books gifted to me today, actually, that I was going through. So
Nice.
It's like as many as I get rid of, I just can't seem to get that pile down, those boxes. So that was kind of my week, in terms of comic collecting. I did manage to get this book, probably a 9.0.
Ooh, very nice.
This one here seems appropriate with all the Nightwing talk and everything.
Is it in a hard case?
It's a top loader.
Oh, okay. Like,
And then it's got So when I bought it, he put it in there for me.
nice.
So really good deal on that. So I was happy to get that. And I got going through. I found a fairly new shop, and he's got some like $1, $2 kind of bins.
Yeah.
So I found some books in there. So I got this.
Oh,
Nice.
Jim Lee. That's Batman #2, and this is a Jim Lee cover.
Nice.
It's a 125.
Comically Flawed said that if we're having space issues, we could send him books.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially, with the baby on the way, like money's gonna be tight for a little bit, so you can go ahead and just send me whatever you don't need, and I just
Yeah.
I would take it.
I'll send you all my doubles.
There you go.
You might have some doubles I need. You never know.
Sure.
But yeah, man, like that's definitely an absolute problem with the space, and then just having enough stuff to store everything in. Like there's nothing worse than, like you were saying, Justin, you get to the end and you're like, oh no, I need another short box or another long box, or the constant struggle, which is bags and boards. I mean, that in itself is just literally it's a battle on its own. It's just like, all right, so do I drop the money to get these bags and boards, or do I buy another book or two? What would I do? So that's always fun to deal with. But
No, it's same way. I did but I went high class this week and I picked up an X-Men Gold short box. I didn't just get the plain white BCW. I went X-Men Gold team. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I like how they're doing that. You know how they have those theme boxes. Like they had one for Hellboy that looked pretty cool. They had one for Ghost, the Adam Hughes series, I think it was Ghost, and then they also had what else did they have? They had one other one that I had seen pretty frequently, and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but the X-Men Gold one is pretty cool.
Yeah, they had blue too, but I was looking at it and I'm like, I don't care about the blue team, so blah. So I got the gold, and then
back in the day, the blue team.
No, I understand, but it's not. It's their new promotion for the new blue and gold teams that are about to come out.
Yeah.
So it's the blue team is all new, all different time displaced X-Men, which I'm like, blah. Go back to your own time. We don't need you here.
I remember that blue team. That blue team was a beast back in the day, and then like the gold team just like the only thing that they had really going for them was Apocalypse and Jean, and then the rest of them was kind of like in Storm too, and then everybody else is kind of like they really downplayed Iceman a lot, but then there's some other people on the blue team that really could have been taken. Like Beast didn't need to be on the blue team. You could have easily put Iceman on that blue team, made a badass. Colossus should have been on the blue team. Colossus was awesome. I don't know why they kind of shifted him over to the wrong side. That's always how I felt.
Yeah. I liked whatever team Psylocke was on.
Psylocke was on the blue team. The blue team. I'm telling you, the blue team had the best characters. Like they just had everybody who you want. Like they had Gambit, they had Cyclops, they had Wolverine. Just that was it. And then Rogue, Psylocke. It was just like you didn't need anything else. And Jubilee, Jubilee was kind of like their mascot.
Mm-hmm. She was the one who was going to get in trouble, and then they had to go save her.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly. She was the MacGuffin device.
Exactly. How do we get into this situation? I don't know. Jubilee tripped over an alarm. Yep, that'll work.
All right. I want to show one more book that I got. Can you guys tell me if you know the significance of this book?
It's the first Star Wars book. I have no clue. I'm just saying.
Is it the final issue in Marvel?
Well,
I know it's got a low print run if it is.
Gives it away.
Yeah, last issue, right?
Yeah.
So low print run. I don't know if anyone. I don't think anyone dies or anything like that, but definitely.
It's just the last issue, and it's like you said, low print run. Pretty hard to find. Anyways, I got it for free.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I don't ever see those in shops.
Yeah, this one's really hard to find, especially in a high grade.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes for not a bad dollar amount on eBay. So
I have yet to see one on eBay. Like I've looked and I've never. I mean, maybe I just look at the wrong times. But like you said, since it's rare, I mean, I'm just putting it in the search at a time when it's just not available.
Yeah,
it's possible, Chris. It's possible.
It's very possible. All right, let's get into the talk that I know everybody's here for. Logan.
Who?
Yeah. Logan.
Yes.
They should have called it Jim. James. No, just kidding. You guys both saw it, obviously, right?
Oh, yeah.
So talk to me. What'd you think of it? Did you not like anything? You
want to go first, Justin?
Sure. I don't know if there was really anything that I didn't like. I thought it was overall, I really liked it. It was a well-rounded movie. Maybe they could have, I don't know, man. The ending hurt though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, wait. First, before we get into it,
I'm not going there.
No, are we doing spoilers or no? Because I want to tell the people in the chat and give an advance warning.
I can go either way. I mean, I've seen it, so for me, the gloves are off. But I don't want to ruin it for anybody else. So
yeah, exactly. I don't either.
Chat. Did you? For everybody out there watching us, would you prefer a spoiler-free, or have you seen it and you're ready to discuss it?
We got a couple people that haven't seen it. Comic Board, Adam hadn't seen it. So.
What have we got here? Another guest.
What's up, fellas?
What's up over there?
What's going on?
How are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. What you guys got going on?
We were just showing off a couple books that we got throughout the week, and we were just barely getting into some Logan talk. And try to get people to let us know if we want to do spoilers or not.
Yes, spoilers. Yes, spoilers. I haven't watched it. I don't have a problem with the spoilers.
Okay.
I'm too enthused about the movie. Looks great. Have you guys seen it?
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
I saw it.
Yeah, you guys suck. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting to find it on Cody. I'm too busy to go to a movie theater.
But see, that's the thing is like I went Friday night, and there were a lot of people in there, but it wasn't like filled to capacity. Like 7 o'clock on a Friday night.
What's it at right now? Domestic, 85 million. The first.
Nope. It crossed 100 million today.
Wow.
It crossed 100 million today.
Yeah.
And global, I think it's at what, 200 or 300 easy.
It was over 240 like Monday morning. So
it might be a good movie to watch.
Yeah, I would.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So did we decide, or did you guys decide on spoilers, spoiler free or spoiler?
Comic Board said, "All right, time to mute." So he said he checked back after the Logan talk. So I don't know.
I don't have a problem with the spoilers.
Okay, let's do spoilers.
And then
Spoilers.
spoilers.
hurt his feelings.
Fair warning right now,
Yes,
everybody in the chat. If you're listening, we're doing spoilers. This is your chance to mute. Put this in your watch later thing so you can watch it afterwards, after the movie. Or I don't know what we'll do to indicate that we're done with that piece of the show. High in the background. But for now, we're doing spoilers. So there's your warning.
Cool.
Yeah, I like doing it that way, just so you don't have to hold anything back. Talk straight up. So.
I'm gonna ask for one spoiler though before we start with the Logan spoiler.
Go.
What? You got to tell us the spoiler. Did you get beat up or something? You got your whole forehead jacked up.
Who?
Jesse.
Oh no, it's just spot there.
Okay, got you.
Yeah,
All right.
I didn't
get beat up. Then that's all. I'm good.
I do the beating up.
You didn't get beat up by X-23.
No.
So, man. So what did we guess? Who won the guessing?
Oh yeah, I don't know if anybody. I mean, I don't think I was even close. I think I was a little bit like. I think I was modest on my guess, and
yeah.
I mean, looking back on it, I mean, like I knew I should have went higher, but I just decided to stick with what I said because, I mean, it's unopposed. It really is, and it is that good of a movie that really, honestly, like it's going to take in a whole bunch of money. It's a great time for it, and I wonder. I mean, I don't know if I would say it's award worthy, but there's certain parts of it could be. Certain parts of it absolutely I think could be. Mm-hmm. I just think that it was done very well, and it's actually kind of a shame that it took this long to make a good standalone Wolverine movie. To really let him be who he is, because in the Days of Future Past, they kind of explored it and let him be more of himself, which I think was good. But it's so funny because you watch this and you're just like, so they held him, they held that character back so long, and now they just brought him out, and it's just like, it leaves you wanting so much more.
Yeah, it took him this long to be comfortable with the R rating, right? I mean, it's PG-13 up until now, except for Deadpool.
And even with the R rating, I don't think the violence was like over the top or just like thrown in to throw it in there. I thought it was like exactly what I expected to see Wolverine doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of like the way he went in his berserker rage and kind of what they showed there was helping to convey his emotions and kind of what he was thinking. So I didn't think it was like gratuitous or needless. It was violent and it was bloody and it was brutal, but it fit what they were telling as a story. So,
but I agree with Chris, man. It was about time they did Wolverine, his character justice, and apparently they're entertaining the thought of having X-23 in her own movie as well. From what I hear.
Yeah, but when's that movie going to be set? In like 2035? Like, because that one was set in 2029.
Yeah, she's what, like 10 now, so.
So she'll just be alone. Her and her buddies, I guess. But
unless she like lives backwards through time.
I mean, they could totally do that. Also, Days of Future Past should have been just called Wolverine and his X-Men buddies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How's YouTube feel about
X-Men Time Machine?
Right.
How's YouTube Hangouts feel about you actually running a trailer for a movie?
They don't like it.
They probably probably look down on that.
Get banned in Germany for stuff like that.
I remember in one of our first shows, I tried to do that with a Star Wars teaser. Actually, we were talking at the beginning about Star Wars Celebration. It was last year that I was around this time, I guess it was, where I tried to show
Rogue One?
it was it was Rogue One. It was.
Yep.
Yep. I tried to play it, and like I was the only one who could hear it. I was enjoying it, but nobody else could hear it, or see it. So
They're quick to mute it.
It's all the little bots that they got crawling through the interwebs, checking for metadata.
So who had the most airtime? Logan, X23, Professor X.
Logan was pretty prominently featured in the movie.
Logan.
But X23 was kind of sprinkled in here and there, and then Xavier wasn't on that much either. It was mostly Wolverine, and then you had certain people kind of pop in here and there, but they like I said, they did that movie well. Like I mean, they had to show him as he was, and it was great to see him. When you first get a glimpse of him, his hair's starting to gray. He's got a noticeable limp. Like you can tell from the get-go, like, he's old now. He's not the same. He's not, something's not quite right with him. And then as they keep going, you see that, he has trouble pulling his claws out. His knuckles are on where his claws come out. There's like infection, he was basically, he was sick. He was being poisoned by the adamantium, and it was something that they didn't quite they looked at it whereas just Xavier is old and he's kind of not in good shape, and neither is Wolverine. But Wolverine, being more virile, you don't want to believe that he's not in the greatest shape. Well,
he's older. Like he's got to wear glasses. His wounds aren't healing. He's like limping around. He's trying to medicate with drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
He's got a lot going on. He's really, really complicated in this movie.
So here's the next inevitable question: being that he's quote unquote dying or being poisoned by the adamantium, whichever way you pronounce it,
aluminum.
They kill him off in the end of the movie. Again, spoilers. Or is that too far of a spoiler?
Let's just say it ends differently than the book.
Well, the funny thing you said that, because I've heard people review it and they say, "Wow, I actually cried in this movie." So
I could see that.
Oh, yeah.
I could totally see that at the end.
When I left the theater, there was a lady in the back, and she was bawling her eyes out. You could see her wiping tears away, and
they killed Wolverine off.
Oh no, there's a few tearjerker moments too. I mean, I ain't the only one. Like,
I really viewed the whole movie as like it's a family movie. Because it was. He's got his family at the beginning, and then it transitions to a different family, and then it transitions to a different family, and you run into other family. I mean, so it's just like a big family dynamic movie, and how that evolves.
That's why I say I do kind of feel like it could be like, in a way, the way it was written. Let's put it this way: if that wasn't a comic book movie, if that was written as a standalone movie, I think you could. I think you could say that that's probably award worthy. Like the way they played it out, the way it went down. It was done well. Like I mean, it's really like I said, sad and actually kind of funny that it took this long to be like, you know what, we can actually make a really deep comic book movie. We don't, you don't have to sit there and just look at it as this is just for a certain genre. Honestly, if you look at it in the right perspective, it really does come to be like a family movie, and there's a lot of it's a heavy family movie when you really think about it. Like there's a lot of moments. There's at least 2 moments in there that would definitely get at you. Like as far as like and the way I'll say it, like when you saw Days of Future Past, you as a comic fan, you might have been a little bit upset, seeing that first scene where the X-Men just get murdered by the Sentinels. But like it wasn't quite as like really emotional when you when you see some of the things that happen in this one. You're like, oh my god, Like,
yeah, that one you didn't really have a connection to the characters. Like you knew who they were. Like, hey, cool, that's Bishop. But like,
Yeah, but that was the first time we saw him. That was the first
Yeah.
time we saw Blink. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like, I felt bad when Iceman got it. When they pulled his head off and stomped it, I was like, oh man, that he didn't deserve that. But that's about as far
Really?
as I went with
I was
it.
like, that was cool.
Yeah, but that's as far as I went with it. Like when I see the state of Charles Xavier, I got sad just looking at him in the very beginning. You know, I was just like, wow, this is it. And then when they start to go into more of his story in the movie, he tortured soul at the end of it, and it's just like, and you feel like, it really is kind of a sad way to look at a man who really just wanted to do good and help people out.
Mhm.
You know, this is how he ends up, and it's just, it really was sad. It was.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a testament to the power and the tragedy of Alzheimer's and dementia. And it can really affect anybody. You get this guy; he's got the most powerful brain in the world, and here he is.
Oh, that's what he has in the movie, huh?
That's why he's like cursing and just really being out of character for himself. It's because he's like
He's just losing
90
it.
something,
Yeah.
right? He's really old in this movie. So,
But I also like the fact that they took the burden of like the mutant massacre or whatever you want to say it would be off of Logan.
Yeah.
It wasn't him that
Mhm.
did whatever happened. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
And they hint that Charles was a part of it, and then we get the guys saying that they control the mutants through the corn. So, I don't know. That was I like that better than the way the book has it.
Yeah.
Kingdom Comics. Kingdom
Boring.
Comics has an interesting thought here. He says conspiracy theory, just like in the Old Man Logan storyline, but this time it would be Xavier that controls Logan's mind to think that everybody got killed.
It could be.
It's possible, but even in the news report, they said something about Charles Xavier and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And they were talking about something that happened at Westchester.
Right.
Yeah.
6 years prior, so something like that. So
this movie takes place something like five-ish years after the very end of Days of Future Past, when like Logan went back and saw Professor X and was like, aha, I got a lot to catch up on. Right. So that was,
I don't know. I mean, they said this one takes place in 2029.
yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So I would say it's 10 years or so.
Something like
I think
that.
I remember Mangold saying something about this is the same timeline. I'm confirming that, but it's 5 years beyond anything that you've seen in the franchise.
Right, but they said the Westchester thing happened 6 years prior to Logan.
Well, maybe Mangold, I mean, either way, it's just,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
That's one thing that they didn't like. I've seen a lot of stuff. A lot of websites have been saying. I think it's like Comic Book Resource, and was saying, trying to explain the decision for not showing the Westchester massacre and all that, saying that like this is why they decided not to. And I mean, honestly, I think that it's not. Some people might be upset. It's like, oh, I don't know the story that well. I would have liked to have seen, or at least had some type of flashback as to like what it was. But it was just like, you don't really need. I mean, if you know the story, if you've been around it, you don't really need that. Like, basically, a lot of people end up getting killed, and it's through an accident, and that's what basically like sets them on their path of being really withdrawn and not wanting to deal with anything.
Mhm.
I think that was kind of I think in a way it's kind of a smart idea. You leave it up to your own imagination. Like you figure out what happened and how it all went down. And that I think is something that, they do well in good movies where they don't give it all to you. They leave some of it to you to fill in, the blanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. Like he said he wants, even though it's in the same universe, for it essentially to be its own movie, right? So to have those, flashback scenes and this and that would be really tying to other movies and taking it out of what he was trying to do with making a movie between the opening credits and the end credits. Like that's all he wanted to focus on, right? So it makes sense. I agree with you why he didn't put it in there.
Yeah, I don't think it needed to be there.
Yeah. So I want to ask you guys, what did you think of X-24?
23.
4.
Oh no, there's a
4.
24 in the 24
There's
was
24, man.
nuts.
I so what? I so need to watch Logan like soon.
Yeah. That, I mean, it was the next step for them to do their experiments, definitely, was to go to 24, because it was like adult with a child's brain, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it was just a rageful child, man. Whew, that like that. I mean, it actually kind of blew me away that when they were talking about the when it was like, oh, like the doctor can control him. Like how like look at him, and he was able to kind of reason with him and calm him down. I was like, Jesus. But I mean,
that's his family.
Yeah,
like a lion tamer.
Vicious though from the get go. Like, and that scene did it for me. I was like, whoa! Like I was watching, and I was just like, I mean, at first I was like, this is all like a dream sequence, right? Because none of this seems like correct. And all of a sudden I was like, oh man, this all legitimately is happening. All right.
Yeah. It made me think of that dream sequence. I think it was where he stabbed Jean Grey.
Right.
Right. That's what I thought it was kind of being similar to.
And I saw that, I was like, wow. They just upped the bar, and then and then you see like all the fighting and everything going on, and it was just like it was pretty crazy. I was just like it made me just kind of wonder where that was gonna go, because I was just like, oh, that was pretty gruesome. And then going forward with it, it's just like when Wolverine and X-24 meet up, it's just like you kind of it's weird to see Wolverine be kind of the underdog. Like you always think, oh, he's the best at what he does, he's gonna take this. But then it was just like I had my reservations. It's like I don't know how he's gonna handle this guy. Like this is tough.
Yeah, his own worst enemy is himself in more ways than one.
Yep.
So Comically Flawed says, so if there's an X-24, then there's hope they'll move on and the X-23 comics will come back down.
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask
no
an
way.
honest.
No.
No.
Not at all.
X-24 ain't gonna be around long enough. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no.
An honest question on my part: is there an actual X-24 in the books?
I'm sure.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I'm sure they've gone, well past that. I mean,
Because
it might have been a field
I could pull on my 9X3 right now and check.
But did y'all notice though in the movie all the kids were X-23? Laura just happened to be X-23-23.
Right.
Oh.
All the other kids were like 24, 20, whatever. So she was X-23-23.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I didn't notice that.
I did see the X-23-23, but I didn't realize that they were all an
Mhm.
X-23 variant.
That makes sense, though. I mean, maybe it's just the 23rd generation of the experiment.
Jesse, that's what they're variants, just like Jesse.
But man,
there's extra for them.
To answer Flawed's question though, as far as if X-23 is going to go down, absolutely not.
No.
I mean, they're already, and we can discuss her in the movie, but they're already, I guess, kind of showing interest in wanting to do a movie with that same girl as X-23, and directing it. So what I would say is that NYX3 is not going anywhere. It may not go up until the movie comes out, but it's going to stay high. The second and third, the second appearance, and the first solo appearance and all the rest, those are going to go up. Absolutely.
It'll dip a little bit. It'll, the market usually dips a little bit, once we get a few months post movie and people are focused on some other things, but it's never going to go down, very low. I mean, it's.
There's another NYX run as well. I want to say
Home.
1 through 6 or something.
Yeah, it's called No Way Home.
Yeah, I got that one too. I got the whole No Way Home run and the whole NYX run.
All right, so the way that we're going to get X-23 in a normal X-Men movie is it's going to have to happen at the end of Deadpool 2, and Cable is going to have to jump into her future and grab her when she's, like 23, and then move her back in time to be on the current X-Men's team, whatever that one's going to be.
Yeah, maybe they could use that phone booth that Deadpool
did.
did travel through time.
Maybe.
His name was on there.
Like Bill and Ted?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Doctor Who, but still.
And you guys could tell who's the writer of the panelist, right? Who had come up with that little storyline.
You know,
You're welcome.
it's crazy though. Like, you know,
Hey, props. I was giving you some props.
I mean, I'm not exactly sure how they're gonna get her into that. You know what I mean? But you know, when it comes to you know, just the movie in general and how they've how they're basically trying to set up, you know, and move forward into others. You know, they really did kind of leave it in a cliffhanger, and you know, as far as how they're going to get her into that. And then the other thing that I thought was kind of cool, and you really had to be eagle-eyed to see it, was when they were going through all the files on those kids, you know, who basically. I'm not sure if those are going to be the New Mutants, if they're going to do a movie with those kids or not. But you know, to see like you know, they didn't have anybody's code name as far as like their mutant name. It was all just real names. And you know, they were all real mutants in there, and they just all, you know, they were the offspring or you know, offspring of those mutants. Like you know, there was Avalanche was in there, Bolt was in there, and you know, I thought that was pretty cool.
I picked up on Bobby, so that could be Bobby Drake. And then Richter, of course, is one of the big name that everybody knows. So those could be. I mean,
see, I just don't. I don't think they're going to go forward with that. Like they could, because where do you go forward with that? They have to live in a place to be protected. Yeah,
well, that's the thing that was weird. Is just, you know, they have that sanctuary, but who knows who's even on the other side of that? Because you know, no one. They didn't really fully explain that, and you know. I don't know if those people are really, you know, looking at it where it's like, you know, their children that they're speaking with. Like, I don't know if they realize that, you know, they were giving, you know, asylum to those, you know, it was really, for me, you know, like I said, it's a pretty big cliffhanger. There wasn't any sort of after credit scene. So they didn't give you
there wasn't.
what's going next.
I don't think it would have felt right to have one, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
and
the way the movie ended, just if there was another scene after that, it would have taken away from the impact of the ending, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, can I chime in for a second? I'm responding to Jason Smith in the chat room. He goes, I guess he suggested I get Wolverine 80, technically the first appearance of X-23.
The test tube, yep.
Oh, the test tube.
So, in regards to his suggestion,
I see what's sad about that though is the price on that. Like, I mean, because that's what's indicative of what's going on with you know, these books and the movies. Because I mean, if you went back maybe let's say like 5-6 years ago, it's like a $2 book. Now it's like a $25 book. So hey.
That does not count as a first appearance.
That's just like, is it Uncanny X-Men 201? Baby Cable?
The first Baby Cable.
It's the same sort of.
That's actually something I wanted to bring up. Did you guys see on the graffiti on the wall of the phone booth, it says Hope? It says Hope, and then it says Nathan Summers is coming soon or something like that. It's the two things that it shows. So people are speculating that Hope Summers is going to be in the movie or something having to do with her. And it's just like, so if you have Messiah Complex, technically that's the first appearance of her as a baby, but she's not, you know, I think if you're going to, I mean, and I don't know for sure, but I don't know if I would look at it as, you know, the first adult Hope is going to be the one that you look for, just like with Cable, because, you know, 201, technically the first Cable or Strife, however you want to look at it, but it's the baby. It's not, you know, nothing's proven at that point. So
yeah, but bottom line, the market is going to make because that's the case. If that's the case, you could think of what is it, 180, 181 first appearance. You guys all know what I'm talking about, Hulk.
Yeah. It's very inconsistent.
The
market will choose, you know, whether it's the cameo or something like that, or the first full. Like with one character, it'll be, nope, it's the first full. And then everybody on another character will be like, nope, that's the second appearance. It's crazy how it's not consistent.
Well, me and the market need to have a talk because I'm getting some stuff wrong.
Well,
The
apparently,
sources, though.
Dustin's been loading up on slabs from what I see.
Who?
You.
I've got 2.
Well, that's more than you had about a couple of months ago. 0.
Yeah, 200% more.
I got a bunch for sale back there. So,
Oh, do you?
you know, I know that one that you really like. The one that I have, Elodie Young and Charlie. What is it? Charlie Cox's signature.
Oh, yeah.
I got it up there somewhere. It's for sale, guys. I don't. Yeah.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah.
It's a
So,
ahead.
you guys all know ETA Nick, of course, right?
yes,
yeah.
indeed.
He does the movie reviews. He critiques the movies, and he's a pretty harsh critic of the movies. Like, he always says he could nitpick a movie to death and the logic between what's going on. And he loved this movie.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know if you saw his review. He said, hey, like his wife is pretty, I guess, sensitive with the movies and stuff, but he actually cried in this movie more than his wife did. So
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
Very.
I went with my wife, and she's not a big, she's definitely not a big Blood and Guts fan, and she's not, she's definitely not into like the really violent type stuff like that. But she was just like, the movies. I turned, I was like, "What'd you think?" She's like, "Yeah, it was pretty good." And outside of like Guardians and stuff like that, like she hasn't really given like a really, usually it's okay. I liked it, but it was all right. Like Guardians of the Galaxy was the first one. She's like, "Oh, that was pretty good." So she's, by saying pretty good, she liked it a lot, and I could tell.
Well, that's one I'm looking forward to. Guardians of the Galaxy #2.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just the way I look at it, this movie was definitely the Wolverine movie that everybody's been looking for, and you won't be going wrong if you see it. Like that's the way I can look at it. Like you won't leave the theater disappointed.
Unless you take your kids.
Yes, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
There's only like one scene where I would have hid a kid's eyes. Otherwise, I'd be like, it's everything else you see.
What, the limo boobies?
Yeah, that was it.
Here's a question for Chris.
Hey, Frost.
Here's
Chop.
here's a question for Chris. I think Chris is probably know the price for this book. Yesterday, an Iron Man 55 was auctioned off.
Oh no!
And you probably saw it. It was roughly a 5.5 to 6.5 raw.
Mm-hmm.
He had put a reserve behind the backboard, so he's like, "Okay, guys, I'm just gonna write this behind the backboard, the backing board, whatever it's called,
yep.
So that if it doesn't hit this reserve, I'm not gonna sell it."
Right.
So, what would you give the value of that book off the top of your head, Chris?
What book?
5.5.
Iron Man 55.
I would say probably close to like 300.
Okay.
Wait, what happens in Iron Man 55?
It's a very hot book. Yeah, Iron Man 55, definitely. He put a reserve of it of $250.
Okay.
He ended up for $400. And the funny thing was that I was very tempted to put a bid in there over probably over 300, because he put it up close. He put the book up close to the camera so people could see the defects in the front, back, and me being a presser, I knew I could flatten that bad boy out. So I would have easily brought it from a 5.5 to maybe even an 8. So I was this close to purchasing it. That would have been a nice little investment.
Yeah, you should have done it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know that you can press the value back up, why not?
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, that was just my question of the night.
Yeah.
Good job.
What's the first appearance of that, Chris? You probably know.
The first appearance in that book.
Yeah.
It's Thanos and Drax the Destroyer.
Right. There you go. That's one of those books that will continuously go up in value.
Well, but right now it's the big push for Thanos because
exactly.
Right.
And once he dies in the movies, guess what? It'll go down a little bit.
He
Well, it won't
not
tank,
gonna
but it'll go down a little
die.
bit.
Look who joined.
Taking on villains is always a volatile game.
Yeah, but I don't think they could kill Thanos.
You just,
That would upset way too. How many? He can't die.
we don't kill him. You just throw him away or something like that. Like, Thanos went on vacation.
Yeah, you've been defeated. Come back again in a year and try again.
Introduction.
What's up, Edwin?
Edwin.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey.
Snuck in.
Man, I kind of glad I wasn't on at the beginning because I didn't get a chance to see Logan over the weekend.
Let's go ahead and spoil it all over again for you because we said we're doing spoilers.
Logan becomes Superman. He gets a cape and everything.
Oh man, that'd be crazy, right?
No, but in all seriousness, he is on Planet Hulk with Scar.
Really?
And Beta Ray Bill shows up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No,
Okay.
not really.
And then you're in the original Human Torch, the android.
Mhm.
Yep, he's there.
Oh, that's old school.
His leg is there. It's just spinning around.
Okay.
And Namor showed up at the end.
So how's Logan wrap up? How's it end? Just for Edwin.
Yeah.
There's a big tea party, and then
They go sailing.
yeah, pretty much.
Sailboat.
Yeah,
Start singing Kumbaya.
they have a sunsetter,
Mm-hmm.
retractable awning.
Kind of like and they play that song from what's that movie? Rain Man.
Oh.
Oh yeah. All right. So, do you guys have any conventions coming up that you're going to? Let's get into some talk about what to do and what not to do when you're at a con, because that is something that comes up every year, and it seems like we're getting into, if you can call it a con season, because there really isn't anymore, getting into con season here.
Mine's a little way off, but I bought my ticket for it. And it's the Boston Comic Con, which has gone way up. But one thing I can say is, if you're gonna go to a con, I think the good con etiquette, as far as the lines and the amount of books and all that is concerned, is to research like if you're going to see the artists and everything, or the different people get signatures, research whether they charge and what their limit is for books, because if you have somebody that doesn't have a limit, it doesn't really give you the right to show up with a whole short box and be, hey, guess what? I have all your work from 1987 right here. Sign it all. That's not really cool.
Can I let me piggyback off what Chris said, because he makes a good point, because I had guys coming to me for asking how much certain artists charge for a signature. And here's the way I've predicted it. If an artist is a working artist, most of the time they won't charge because they don't need to, because they're working. Now a lot of these artists that are not working so much, they're going to charge you anywhere from $20 a signature all the way down to $2 a signature. And some artists like Walt Simonson and his wife, and even John Romita Jr., they wouldn't charge you, but they would ask that you make a donation to their charity or something like that.
Yep.
And so you do stuff like that. But through social media, people have asked me, and I've been able to really help them, because you have to factor that stuff in when it comes to, if you have a budget, man, you got to factor that stuff in, because if anybody knows, cons can be expensive.
Oh yeah.
To knock off another $50 or $20 or $100 just in signatures, I mean, that sometimes people don't plan for stuff like that.
Yeah, and a few dollars here and there, you don't think about it, but it adds up fast. By the time you get to the other end of Artist Alley, it's like, damn,
Yeah.
that's a lot of money, man. Yeah. Some of them do, instead of taking the money or not charging, they'll be like, just put something in this donation pile here. I like those. I know Roy Thomas does that.
Yeah.
Happily. Actually, I pay more by doing that, because it goes to a fund versus otherwise. I don't know. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, Bill Tucci, he's the guy that created She. He does that. He asks that he does, I think, to veterans. He basically, whatever you want to throw in, I've met a few that charge around like $5 per book. Some people will give you a threshold of books. So they'll be like, all right, so first one is free, then everything else is, X amount. A good example of that too is Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor. They will let you have up to 5 books for free, and then everything after that is a $5 charge.
Is it as many as 5? Because I remember getting their signatures, and I remember it was several. I just don't remember it being 5.
Yeah, no, it was 5 books, and then you get 5 books, and then you get to pay from that point forward. And I think I want to say that Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder also 5 books, no charge. Everything after that, they charge you. So
that's not bad.
Yeah, getting that. The way I see it is, looking into that beforehand is a good. It really is a good way to go about things, because there's nothing worse than waiting in a line and then all of a sudden, someone didn't budget it out or just didn't think about it and like, oh, I don't have any money. Can you just?
All right.
Because then it's like one of those things where like they're kind of on the spot and they kind of feel like sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. They're like, oh, dude, yeah, no, we charge. I'm sorry, like that's just the way it goes. And then you've sat online for the last half hour or whatever. People have been behind you. I mean, they're not going to be happy with you that you sat there that whole time and then didn't have the money with you, or you weren't prepared to pay the signature.
That's one thing I like about
you waste my time in line, you get kicked out of the con.
If you want
Yeah.
if you want Neil Adams signatures, bring your bank account, bank book, whatever.
He's who I was thinking of too with that $20 signature.
He's actually 30 now, if not more.
It's 20 just to take a picture with the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. That's what I like. How George Perez does it. He does the tickets.
Yes.
Right. Caps it out. You can go walk around. You can do whatever. But if you got your ticket, you're good. Right. You can come back.
God forbid you're like number 20 online with a ticket. You're waiting all day, if not to the next day.
So at the last con I went to, he capped it at 200 tickets.
Yep.
I was number 193. Right. So I got there when they were. Yeah. So I was walking around doing my thing. Filming or whatever I like to do there, and we went there. It was at like 190, I think it was. And I was actually working with some of my friends. They were doing like a video game thing. So I had all my stuff at the booth, like, in the back, where everybody just stashed their backpacks or whatever. And I looked, I'm like, okay, so my number's coming up. And I'm looking at my wallet. I'm like, shit, I lost the ticket. So I ran back. No, I told them that I'm. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we lost you. Take over it.
Did we lose him?
All right, so Jesse lost his ticket. And
No ticket. Throw him out of the plane. So here's my question, though. You're talking about like taking books and getting them signed. What are you taking those books in? Are they just bagged and board? Are you wrapping them in something? Like, how are you taking your books into the con with you?
Well, you get a bunch of. You get it.
Jose, remember we told you to get?
I recommend you guys first
Bubble wrap.
getting these bad boys. They're called Store Folios 1.5.
Open it up for him.
I want to say it holds up to.
I think it's about 15 to 20 books.
Yeah. And it's a perfect fit. I mean, there's very little play all over the place. You don't have to worry about your books banging back and forth. But you should also.
So it's like a trapper keeper for your books.
Right.
You know what?
Yep.
And then what you want to do.
Oh, trapper keeper.
What you want to do. These are for sale. What you want to do.
Start the bidding at $1.
Let's do an auction on Jesse's show. These are for sale, by the way. I got doubles. We all know who this is, right? Come on, Edwin.
Oh yeah, I already sold mine. I got mine signed, slabbed, and sold.
Yeah, you had them at 9.8s, I remember.
Yep.
But anyways, what you want to do, and Edwin and I, we've done this before prior because we are authorized witnesses for CBCS. What you want to do is get like you know that blue masking tape.
Yeah, painter's tape.
Yeah, the painter's tape. And wherever you want the signature, let's just say you want the signature on this bottom half of the thing. So you kind of cut it out of the bag with a razor, with the comic book out of the bag. You cut a square in there, and the masking tape is for it to stop from, you know, ripping up further. And then once you get to the con, you give it to them just like that with the little. It's called a signature window.
Yep.
Just place it there, and they sign it. And
The
you
blue
put it
tape
back
you're talking
in.
about?
Yeah, the blue painter's tape.
Okay. Yeah.
But there's a lot of people like myself who go there with like this many books, and it's like, okay, the artist will look at you and be like, okay, here we go, and you know he'll get into his who's notorious for that, J. Scott Campbell. He'll see a bunch and he'll like, oh boy.
There we go.
Yeah. Don't forget a backpack. If you're bringing a lot of books, one of these babies. I also recommend different colored markers, because sometimes, like right here with this one, you might want. I'd go even as far as getting a gold marker, because it kind of blends in with the background color.
I would bring gold, silver, and black.
Definitely those 3 colors. And the backpack, definitely make sure your phone's fully charged, if not be able to bring an extra battery for your phone, because your phone will die. You know, with going through looking for prices, going through prices, or just like what Jesse mentioned before, you know, making videos with your phone and such, your phone will die soon. Bring a lot of cash. You know, don't tell too many people how much you're bringing, especially Edwin, because he'll be like, yeah, let's meet up, and then rob you for your money.
Fine.
And bring
He's known for that.
You know, depending on your budget, you know, definitely have some cash, liquid cash on you. And get ready to stand on lines, man, for the really good artist. Usually you're gonna, you know, wait around for a bit.
Well, the other good thing too is, you know, if you do happen to go to a con and you have, you know, extra time, as far as, you know, you have a weekend pass, you know, you can, that's where you can really gauge out your experience, where it's like you can hang out in lines one day, you know, or hang out in lines for the artists that you know are going to be, you know, busy, and then, you know, go hunting for the rest of the day. So it's like if you have a con that goes, let's say, from 10 in the morning to 7 at night, you know what I mean? You put it out there and you know, wait in lines, let's say until like, you know, 2, 3, and then the rest of the con you're checking stuff out. You know, that I think is a really good strategy as well. And then I wanted Jesse to get into the rest of his story, because he was saying about George Perez. You lost a ticket. That's where we left off. Here we go.
Oh, I lost the ticket. Yeah, and then of course my freaking laptop died, so I had to run and get the charger real quick. So, yeah, I lost the ticket, so I had to run back to the booth where all the stuff was. You know, for where I was working for that day. Look for the ticket really quick and run back, because I didn't want them to finish. When they were done, they were done, right? There was only a couple people left in line, and I couldn't find the ticket, so I had to run back. I lost it. I don't know where it went. I was, you know, going up Artist Alley and getting things signed, so I think taking my wallet out to get cash over and over again, like I had the ticket in my pocket, so I think it came out and fell on the floor. But anyways, so I went back there with my books, and I'm like, I don't have it. I'm screwed. I really want these signed. Like, I just have a couple, really. I had 2 books. I think it was 2 books. So they're like, well, if there's a lady with them, and she said, if you know, she'll look through, and if we have the 196, Jason found it. If they have the 196, then you can't get the book signed. But so she looked through, and she didn't have that ticket number, and I ended up being able to get the book signed at the last minute. But I had to run back and forth a couple times like a crazy person. People were looking at me weird.
Nice.
Ended up being got my book signed. But I guess the moral of that story is, if you go to George Perez and you get that ticket, make sure you put it in a safe spot. Don't just stick it in your pocket like I did, because you may lose it, and you may not have the end result luck that I did to be able to get them signed anyway. So put it in a safe spot.
Yeah, I think one other, I guess, etiquette thing I could say, you know, when you are, and I think this is just, you know, regular 101, you know, comic con or comic hunting 101 is just, you know, have, I guess, if you're looking for specific books or whatever, have a list ready, I guess, whether it's in your phone, whether it's, you know, actual paper lists, you know, because the last thing you want to be doing is, you know, so you're you know, looking through books and then you pull your phone out and, oh, what's in this? Oh, cool. And then, you know, you don't want to stand there and just kind of, you know, bogart the time just because everybody's going to want to look in there and check stuff out. I would say this also, if there's something that you're interested in at the time when you see it, pluck it out and put it to the side. Because if you pluck it out and be like, you know what, I think I want to go back and check, chances are someone's going to take that spot right after you, and you really can't say, hey buddy, I want to get that book right there. You mind like moving out of the way, just because, you know, it's just constant flow on those things. So it's just kind of like, you know, take it to the side, whatever. And if you don't want it, just, you know, I guess either put it back or maybe even, you know, just go to the seller like, yeah, man, I was thinking about this one, but I just don't have the money for it, so I want to give it back to you. Let them, you know, refile it and do what they got to do.
Let it be known that Chris is more than your polite Connor, because when you go to cons, people, there's a lot of sharks out there, and they'll freaking slash your neck to get the book they want. So
you know what happened to me once? It wasn't at a con; it was at a tent sale. And they had all the long boxes out, and people were going, you know, buck wild, like, you know, like the way it was, it's like roped off around the tent. It's like one of the outside pavilion tents. So everybody lines up on the fence, and then it starts at 10 a.m. So right at 10, they drop the rope, and everybody just like runs in. It's like a bad.
That sounds like a Black Friday sale.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like they have like these boxes out too on the ground with like toys and things in it. People will be leaping over the boxes and like sliding under the tables to try to get to a long box. It's insane.
You know, that's a Hulk 181s or something, or what?
You know, they do hide some good books in there. I found a couple, not like, you know, holy grails like that, but some pretty decent books in there. But I was looking through the last one I went to, actually. It was when was it? Anyway, it doesn't matter when it was. Looking through the long box, and I was pulling out some pretty good Spider-Mans. Like I found like the second appearance of Punisher and stuff. It's a short box for $35. I think it's $35. So just fill it up and everything. So it comes out to like
really.
Right, yeah, or a long box for $45. So,
oh my God,
it comes out to like 17 cents a book or 13 cents. Anyways, good prices. So I was pulling out some good books that you guys will recognize, and this guy, he looked over and he went, "Damn!" So he leaned over to the box that I was looking in, and grabbed like a stack from right in front of me and put them in his pile.
I'd have told that dude to kick rocks, man.
I looked at him, like I did one of those like slow head motions, like what? You know, like, I couldn't believe that just happened.
Yeah, dude, that's horrible. See, you know, I don't know if I would be able to take that and just be like in disbelief, like, oh, okay, that's just. I would be like, dude, put those back. Like you know, I'm in this box. Get out of here.
You got to put it. You got to put it into perspective, because you got to understand. A lot of these people that go to cons are dealers themselves.
Mm-hmm. That's
They're
true.
looking to make.
That is true.
That's true.
They
will
will slash your neck for a buck.
Yeah, just because I
hate to offend any dealers out there, but I'm just being honest.
No, I've seen that actually. There was a dealer that there was a seller that I went to, and I was looking through that stuff, and there was this is why I made the mistake of being like, hey man. You know, just checking through, and I was like, maybe not. And I went down to another box, and then, you know, I went back to it like maybe like 15 minutes later, and the book that I wanted was gone. I go 3 rows over, I see the guy, one of the other dealers, putting it up right there, you know. And then with his post, you know, with a sticky note, $15. I was like, son of a.
Yeah.
He took out of a $5 box, but I was like, oh, so that's how, you know. So it's true. You know, it happens like that, and you know. Just because there's, you know, just like Jesse's saying, you never know what you're gonna find. So, you know, have an idea of what you're looking for. That's the biggest thing. Just because, I mean, yeah, it's great to find those other, you know, those other treasures in the mix. But if you know directly what you're looking for, you know, you have that path, you know, carved out. You go right in, get the stuff you're looking for, and then it's like, oh, added bonus, maybe stuff in $1 box. Maybe there's, you know,
exactly.
You know, it's just something that I think that it would be nicer if people, were kind of cool like that. But other times, you just kind of have to just go with the flow and kind of, just do what you do. The other thing I can say, and this is less of a etiquette thing. This is just be a good human being type thing. Don't steal. Do not steal from the boxes. Yeah. And I know it sounds like common sense, and it sounds like something like, oh, like really? Somebody, this in a way I would say is kind of the it's a seller's fault for the mere fact that he didn't have somebody else watching him, and he was being distracted by two people. So just let's just say, so X-Men number 4, right? Someone's like, oh, can I see that X-Men number 4? So the guy pulled it down, he goes to look at it, and then somebody else came up and was like, what's this book over here? So I was talking to the guy, and then the other guy just jetted off.
Wow.
And by the time the guy turned back around, he couldn't see who it was. So, and I was asking, I was like, oh, the first appearance of Omega, right? He's like, no, not the first. I mean, X-Men number 4, the 4th issue ever. Wow. So it's just like, even if you do manage to get away, even if you manage to get away from that booth, you're in a huge crowd of people. If you get caught, there's no reason to you don't want to go to jail over a comic book. Like that's embarrassing when they ask you what you're in for. So what are you in for? I tried to steal the X-Men number 4. Like,
wasn't there?
It's because I murdered someone. I did this. I did that.
Wasn't there a district attorney or something to that effect that was arrested for just that, scamming a bunch of comics and stuff like that? Apparently, it was
in New York. You're talking about?
No, it was actually. I want to say it was either in the Midwest or maybe even Los Angeles, where they had.
I'd lie and be like, I'm in here for murder.
Right, and apparently a bunch of high value comic books were part of the evidence of a crime, and this guy, a DA, got arrested for stealing comic books.
That's pretty crazy.
Bastards.
Comically Flawed had a really good tip as well, saying bundle and try to get a deal. That's a great one too. If they have deals, if you can get 10 for if you do 10 for $20 or something like that, absolutely.
100%. Yeah, they're trying to move volume there. That's what it's all about.
Haggle.
Haggle and be prepared to go back on. Be prepared to go back an hour later to that person. Be prepared to go back to the next day and offer them, what you're offering them, or a lower price like that. Also, what Comically Flawed said earlier, I don't know if we mentioned this, make a list. Like, know what you're going to look for. Otherwise, you will just be stuck in front of long boxes digging through every book that you see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, know where your holes are in your collection. Know what books you're interested in getting, so you actually have like an idea of what you're going to look for. And you're going to find random stuff, but be on somewhat of a mission.
Yep, and educate yourself. Know what the value of those are, so you know if you're getting ripped or if you're finding a good deal too.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Don't look them up as you go. Like, have an idea. I mean, with all the apps and just everything we have on our phones and everything, there's no excuse not to at least have it like that. And the other thing too, I would say, is diversify. Don't just go to one spot where it's just like, this guy had good books and I'm gonna keep going back to him. It's like, no, literally. I mean, depending on the size of your con, if it's a small con, all right, I can get certain. I understand it in certain ways, but if it's a bigger con, there's literally hundreds of people selling comic books. Jump around. You never know what you're gonna see. You never know what you're gonna get. Yeah. And certain times you're gonna get deals that you wouldn't even think that you would. But the thing with the deals, do not be an asshole about getting a deal. Or how about you give me this $50 book for $25? Okay, well, I'm selling it for $50. Well, it's the first day of Comic-Con. I want it now for this much. Well, yeah, they'll be like, go ahead, kick rocks.
Yeah.
Just be cool about it.
Be cool, but don't be afraid to say no or walk away from a deal. Don't feel you need to be pressured into, buying this book for a price you don't want to pay. So don't be afraid to say no.
Exactly.
Don't bring a baby stroller like I did to my first con.
Is that because you didn't want to walk around?
No, because it was super packed. It was the Tampa Bay Comic-Con. So packed. Yeah, Yeah, they get packed, man, especially the big ones.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I can tell you, and this is more of a tip than a etiquette thing, is have a plan for lunchtime. Like, make sure you eat, make sure you bring stuff to drink, like, especially because most Comic Cons take place in the summer and it gets hot. It's a lot of people. You don't want to dehydrate on the floor. That's not a good look. I've seen it happen twice.
My best option with that. I was just saying, my best option with that, what I've been able to do at Dragon Con is I just bring a cooler in the car and, walk out to the parking lot for a little while and chill and then walk back in. Yeah, so it's like tailgating at Comic Con. Yeah.
But you bring moonshine in that. What was I going to say as far as that goes?
Because most of the time you can't bring anything into the con. So
can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you don't want to.
Okay, listen.
You don't want to be the guy in line with bad breath. Bring gum.
Wear deodorant.
Yeah. Oh yes.
I don't want to smell your nasty armpits when I'm looking through long boxes.
Take a shower. Personal hygiene when you're in close quarters is key.
Yeah.
Like those big cons, you'll have got people that come in for the from out of town and spend the whole week there.
Yeah,
they're just going from the hotel to the con, the hotel back, and they don't even shower.
No, by Sunday, you've got some people at cons that do not need to be out in public.
Yeah, they start smelling pretty ripe.
Oh, dude, like I've walked away from a couple tables because of that. Like there was someone next to me, I was like, oh my god, no, done. I don't care what deals I was passing up. I couldn't do it. I was like, look, I'm going to get in trouble for throwing up all of these books.
All right. I only want to buy a few, not all of them.
You puke on it, you buy it.
But, yeah, I mean.
My next con, though, I'm trying to think, guys. I don't even know when. May? I think realistically May, unless I go out of state to one. Is my next con.
Let me ask you guys this, because how many of you have... How many of you go to cons that are by Fan Expo?
No.
No? None of you? Wow. Okay.
Right here. No, I do. As a matter of fact, shout out to Tito, Kingdom Comics, because I'll probably be seeing him in Dallas at the end of this month.
All right. I want you to answer me this just because, so Boston Comic Con is now a Fan Expo con. And if you get the, I guess, the best possible, so the best possible weekend pass, you get to go in a half hour early. The VIP pass, you get to go in early. You get free swag, all that type of stuff, and then they also are providing you with a pass that basically gives you general admission to any Comic-Con hosted by Fan Expo from the time of I guess the con you attend till the next year. That is a pretty cool perk, but it's $350, a lot of money. But it's a cool perk.
You'd have to for any Fan Expo.
Yeah.
That man, see, you have to first of all you have to have money to travel.
Oh yeah.
Because Fan Expo in Dallas, they do that at least twice a year that I know of. But I mean, it'd be cool if you're like if you're a dealer.
Yeah.
If you're a dealer or something, then maybe yeah. But I don't know, man.
I didn't go with that. I was just I saw that and I was like, I just want to know if you had heard of that before, if it's something new.
No, that's new to me. I know a weekend pass at a con will cost you about $100. For cons, you get maybe you get what you pay for, but
yeah,
I don't know, man.
Comically Flawed says $350. The con I'm going to this weekend is $5.
Cherish those ones. I'm telling you, those ones are dying.
Those are the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are.
You can walk in at any point. You can check out books. You're not going to have all that, everything that we're talking about, like with all the different, etiquette and rules. Like, it's so much more low key that you don't have to worry about any of that type of stuff. Like, everybody's kind of on their best behavior. There's no foolishness. It's the bigger cons you got to worry about. And those small ones where you can get in for $5 and just walk in at the door. I'm telling you, those are starting to go away. It's in my area, they've already started. Like the one that used to be the nice, cheap little one is starting to branch out and get bigger and bigger. And I think a day pass, because it's Saturday and Sunday con. Day pass for Saturday is $25 now, and it didn't used to be. It used to be literally be a $10 con.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, the cons in my area are pretty much all run by the same organization. So all the same rules apply. Typically the same prices. Like a day is $35.
Yep.
For one day. It's all the same. So there's a few of them, but it's all essentially the same. And the exception was Wizard World, but they came through once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, now there's like Heroes and Villains Con too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many different little cons that you can, or that are backed by whatever you want to say, con organizations.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a couple in there's like Reed Pop. I think there's one other one in the New York area, and one of the guys was actually tying back to our what we were talking about before. I don't know if it was the Reed Pop guy or the other one, but he was at a con, had a booth and stuff, even though he was running it. And one of his buddies was stealing books from other booths and bringing them back to his and then selling them, and he got busted.
Wow. Yeah, see, that's not cool.
You said he was
The event organizer.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Wow.
Crap.
Yeah, so he got banned from all the New York City cons. He can't go anywhere now.
Damn.
What about the people that sell bogus prints of art, other artists' artwork?
That's a
like
little
that
tougher to deal with,
Yeah.
just because there's so many of them that do it. It really does depend on, I guess, what will basically be the determining factors if they say, no, I made this and this is my art, versus, because if you say that and the actual artist is there, they will absolutely call you out and really embarrass you and put you on the spot.
Yeah.
And
put you on
Congo
blast.
will do the same. There's plenty of whistleblowers that'll say, hey, Jay Scott, this guy's saying that he did your art. He's saying that he actually drew this picture. And there's just what? And they make a big deal about it. I mean, if you're just there selling posters, though, or selling prints, usually, I mean, for the most part, so long as you're saying that, yeah, this is an artist print of Jay Scott Campbell, I'm just selling it here, usually that just kind of goes with no trouble.
But the thing is that it gets back to the true artist really quick. I mean, the grapevine with social media and just the artist fan themselves, they will make sure the artist knows that that's occurring real quick. Within an hour or so. That's how fast. And that person, depending on what he has to say, pretty much gets blacklisted. And
They have to tear down their booth on the spot, and they get walked out.
It's embarrassing. They get you good. They really do get you good. You end up on YouTube. You go on Facebook. You get famous real quick for the wrong reason, though.
Yeah, that's the comic book walk of shame right there.
So, yeah. Just be really nice. Don't be afraid to talk to people, because I've never, especially dealers, unless it's somebody they hired just to stand there, I've never run into a dealer who was really an ass. They're always trying to be pretty helpful. They want your money, you know?
Exactly.
Oh, how about this? That reminds. So there was I think it was 2 years ago. There was a guy, never seen him before at a con. He gets there. There was a guy standing there, with his wife or something. They'd been there for a little bit, and I'd been looking through, so I noticed it was pretty crowded. And the guy comes over and says, "Hey, are you guys gonna buy anything?" And they're like, "No, we were just chatting. We were just looking." And he literally, loud enough for everybody in that area, goes, "Then get the fuck out of my booth." Yeah. Yeah, and then it was dead. Everybody stopped and looked, and these people were terrified, right? And it was a pause.
Staring him down and telling him
And then he started laughing though, and he was joking. But for that second there, everybody was like, "I cannot believe that just happened."
Holy crap, that dude's
Yeah,
pissed.
what a douchebag.
Yeah.
But he was joking. But
Somebody go buy a sword and cut him.
yeah,
It's insane.
one of those lightsabers in the other row.
Hey, can I show off something I picked up over the weekend?
No.
Only if you sing it. Only you can't say
Only
what
if I could
you
have
do a
it.
sing song.
Get it.
Or 337 or
Yeah.
don't forget it. Justin's gonna run over there.
Show how you package it up and mail it to me.
No, Edwin, show us the book. Let's go. Let's see what it is.
I was talking to Justin about this over the weekend, but I was at an antique shop, and there's quite a few stacks of comic books, but a lot of them, of course, are overpriced. I found this right here. Let me know if you guys can see it. Batman number
No.
114?
94.
94. Wow.
Damn, Golden Age.
This is my first
That 10
Golden Age comic book. Yeah, it's a 10 center. Number 94. I paid a little bit too much for it, but you know, these are hard to come by.
Yeah.
And it's a Golden Age book, my very first Golden Age book. So I'm thinking about having it pressed and cleaned because it's got a little bit of a spine roll and it's actually not in that bad shape. But I was really excited to get this. 1955, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Dude, how's the interior?
1955.
How's the interior colors?
What's that?
How the interior page colors?
It's about it's actually not that bad. It's off white. It's not cream.
Right.
And it's not tan. It's
No,
it's
that's
off white. You know.
That looks good, man.
That's
not that
actually
bad.
very good for a Golden Age.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
Why is that not triple boarded in Mylar?
Well, I mean, it's probably about a
Not
VG. It's about a VG. It could definitely be pressed out to probably about a fine. But to be honest with you, man, y'all know that these Golden Age books, they're a lot wider, so I really don't have a bag and board wide enough for it.
I've run into that.
And then
Yeah, it's like
also,
3.5-ish.
What kind of
What's that?
bags do you buy? You buy the Silver Age bags? Because they should fit in a Silver Age. Tight, but
barely. They barely fit
Oh,
the Silver Age, but
or
I'll put it to you like this. Here's a
the magazine size.
here's a modern, and here's the
Yeah,
Golden Age.
for sure.
You know, so
no,
it's a
they're
little
bigger.
bit. Yeah,
If
but
that's a
also
modern
since I got
bag,
this up, y'all know
If
how
that's
much
a
this is
modern
going for
bag,
now on
then it should
eBay?
fit.
What's that?
God Country #1.
Y'all
Is
know
it
how
like
much it's
30
going for
bucks
now on eBay? About a $30 or $40 book now on eBay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go look
Low,
up
low print run.
Seven to Eternity is like a $70 book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I might have that. I got.
I'm glad I bought all the covers.
First four.
Yeah.
Yep.
How much is 9YX NYX3 going for? Since the movie?
Now it's up
Hundreds.
$800.
That's $1 book.
An
You
arm
don't
and a
want
leg.
it. Just give it to
An
me.
arm and a leg.
You don't want it.
What did you say, Chris?
Jose, I had a birthday, all right? I had a birthday back in January. You got me nothing.
Chris,
That's number 3. Perfect.
Chris, how much did you say it's going for? Raw,
I've heard in between 800 and 900, man.
For-
You got
for
that,
what?
Jose?
Or
Yeah,
slab?
seriously.
Probably slabbed. I'm not gonna lie to you.
'Cause I was about to pull out mine and start, pressing that bad boy, getting it ready.
Yeah, no, dude, press it and grade it. You could probably get pretty decent money.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I only
That's
want
a house
to
payment, man. That book's a house payment if you slab it and sell it.
but it has to be sold either all 7. I don't want to just sell it alone. I mean, they gotta have to actually buy number 4, and if not, all 7 issues.
That's gonna be kind of a tough sell there, just because 3 and 4 are the only ones that are worth money. The rest of them you can find at
Couple
$1
bucks.
bin, man.
Yeah. Well, then
4.
screw anybody who wants to buy my night.
But you got Dark Hawk #1, right?
Yeah, that was good money last week.
Oh,
I thought
man.
#1 slab was going for like $80. I was like, wow.
That's craziness.
And 9.8.
I don't know if I got that for a nickel from a store that was closing, like when I was like I think 12 or 13, and so I was just like $70. I gotta get on this gravy train now. And then no sooner did we talk about it, like the next day they're like, yeah, Dark Hawk has nothing to do with this movie whatsoever. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh shit.
We broke that news.
Good job, everybody.
That's funny. NYX compared to Dark Hawk.
Yeah, I know, right? What a comparison.
That's what you do. You gotta put it out there. Look, if enough people talk up Dark Hawk, next big book.
That's right.
Shit,
all
why don't
all
we
it
do
needs is to be announced as a movie. And
I actually heard Dark Hawk's going to be in the Birds of Prey movie as the villain.
really?
Yeah, that'd be a great crossover with the companies.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. Like someone with a metallic jewel that turns him into this big costume freak.
No,
That'll go
This-
smoothly.
but what they're gonna do is they're gonna move him to DC, but his jewel's gonna be made out of kryptonite.
Yeah. And there's going to be a whole family of them.
Right, and we'll just call him Metallo.
And that's why I say Justin's the writer, as in the time.
Yeah.
Nah.
All right. What books are you guys looking forward to tomorrow? Are you guys getting anything? You think there's anything hot everybody should be looking out for? Or
Oh, I got you. I'm sorry. So here's one of the perks of working for COMICONversation part-time. I've already got all my Venomized variants in my box.
nice.
So now I'm helping out my LCS on Tuesdays when they get their diamond shipment. So I got to put all the pull lists together, and of course I get first dibs on a lot of the stuff. So I went ahead and put all the Venomized variants in my box.
Are you getting all of them? Like, you're gonna get the full set, or are you just looking for like specific ones?
I'm gonna try, but the only one that I didn't see was, I guess it was a Kingpin one. I wasn't able to get a Kingpin one, and then I got the man thing number 1, and I'm like, why did you order so many man things? And then I realized that there's a 25 1 in 25 variant, which I guess is going for like $30 or $40, which I didn't even think about. I should have put that in my box, but it's all good. I can't be greedy, right?
Yeah.
So, but that was like those were like the only things that I didn't really pick up. But I got like the Gwen pool. I got the man thing. I got the old man Logan. I got the Wolverine, which to me is my favorite cover.
Yeah, that's the only one I'm gonna try to get. You know,
there's a 1 in 500 for that as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Hey guys, can I share my screen while you guys are talking?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I like that one. And I like the Captain Marvel one. Those two are my favorites. That doesn't come out, I don't think, tomorrow. It comes out later in the month, but definitely of that set, those are my two favorites.
You know what I'm excited for this week?
No.
The end of Inhumans versus X-Men.
Oh.
Just let it end so we can stop buying that junk.
I didn't know it started.
Yeah.
You didn't know it started.
You didn't miss anything, Jose.
Yeah. Once I started reading about X-Men Blue and Gold and Weapon X and all that, I'm like, okay, well, I kind of know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't
The
matter.
funny thing is that I love both. I love both groups. I love the Inhumans and I love the X-Men.
Wow, you're the only person.
Really?
I know, right?
But that's the thing, though. I mean, I like them from like back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, yeah. You know what it is? You know what? Medusa. I've always had a crush on her. Like any redheaded superhero girl.
No. Yeah, they've done that to us. Look at all the women in comic books. Most of them are redheads.
Yeah. Check it out. Talking about Man Thing, number 1. So while you guys are talking about what's coming out tomorrow, my LCS on Facebook, one of them.
And that is a R.L. Stine book, but it is a mature reader book.
But talking about, that looks pretty sweet, though. I mean, how nostalgic is that cover?
Yeah. It's a 5-part mini, I believe.
But talking about X-Men and Inhumans, I love this cover, man. This is a beautiful cover.
All bow down.
I think that's a regular cover.
Is it?
That's the regular.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, don't get me wrong. As far as like art and everything, the series has been great. I'm just blah with the story.
Gotcha.
Is it better than Death of X? Because I didn't pick up.
It's the same thing.
Pretty much.
It's just
Same artist. I'm getting that.
No, different artists, but story-wise, it's basically just like a continuation. It could have all been one story.
Bittery Bill.
Where? Go back to that Skydoll.
Yeah. He's fighting Cowboy.
Skydoll by Titan Comics. Go ahead,
man. That's a
Skydoll.
Yeah, it's a 2-parter through Titan. You can see Titan there. That used to be a I want to say it was a French title. This is the first time it's in English. But digging that artwork, man. Both of the covers.
Yeah, it's a sweet cover.
Everybody buy Skydoll this weekend. We'll talk about it next week.
Interesting. This is
there you go.
That's a pretty spiffy cover.
Yeah.
Matt King, Tyler Jenkins. That's a good team. Good creative team.
There you go, Edwin. Here you go. Slap this baby. Get this one signed.
I remember messing with that book today.
How about this one? Any good news about
cover? I give it that, but
I love the
There's
cover.
a Venomized variant of that I got, but That's the only reason why I got it.
I think in that one they're kind of going back and saying like how he's always been with Hydra, even back then during World War II. He was still really doing things for Hydra.
Yeah.
Hey,
look,
Edwin, how much?
Like the Fantastic Four, is that like the first reference for Fantastic Four we've seen in a while?
Ooh.
Big lie. Hey, Edwin, how much access do you have to quote unquote the new releases? Because it seems like you got the VIP pass for it.
Well, the Diamond shipment comes the day before New Comic Book Day Wednesday, so I put all the stuff in people's pull boxes. So like a day ahead of time. That's pretty much it.
Do you get like if the guy says okay, you can get variants and stuff like that?
If what he does is he takes care of the people that have their pull list first.
All right.
And then whatever he puts out on the shelves for everybody else to pick up, that's what I'll get first dibs on.
It still sounds like you got a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Like I'm learning a lot, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about something else after the show. But
so which side of
exciting.
the backboard faces the book? So much.
The slick cover or the dry cover?
The slick cover.
Yeah.
Neither, because I use fullbacks, baby.
Oh,
fullbacks.
yeah.
So the fullbacks, those are the ones that are kind of flimsy. That's my only issue.
They're full.
Right?
No, fullback, Mylar and fullback collector.
What is a full?
Right, but the backboards that are quote unquote the higher grade ones, they seem flimsy. But although my LCS, the owner of my LCS says that that's the best board that you want to have for your book.
I don't understand the term fullback. I've never got a backing board that didn't fill up the bag.
Fullback runs the field.
No, it's thicker. It's a lot thicker. It's not as easy to bend like a regular backing board.
I gotcha. Thicker cardboard.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice. Once you go, it's like getting a TV. Once you get that widescreen HD, do you really want to go back to a square tube television?
Right.
Hell no.
I prefer CRT. I still have a CRT for my computer.
Because they're free. You can just go get them. People just sit them outside, like here, free.
Exactly.
I remember I used to have garage sales, and I was trying to sell my CRTs and like for $2, and people still wouldn't want to buy.
People didn't want to pick them up. You have to pay them.
They're so heavy and like yeah.
You gotta throw them at people. Like, hey, listen, take this.
Okay.
You know what we used to do? I had a group of friends in high school, and there was a big park, like with the public pool, and they had like all these different fields and like a pond where they would like freeze it. People could skate on it.
Yeah.
So we went a couple times, and we threw some of the computer equipment in the pool. And the next day, yeah, it was bad. But cop came the next day and was like patrolling around in there. So we hid in the woods. When he drove his car in, we closed and locked the gate and locked the cop in the park.
Nice.
Shenanigans when you're younger.
He's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Let me ask you guys this: Did anybody like? I know nobody does this now. I know nobody does this now. But back in the day when you were younger, say 20, 25 years ago, did anybody go in the comic book shop and one or two they probably shouldn't have?
You're talking about like back in the day, taking some books that may not have 5-finger discount type stuff.
Or your boy Rob happened to pass through?
I mean, statute of limitations is long gone. So I mean,
you can fess up, Edwin. You can fess up.
I can hold on. Let me see.
You can fess up about
Chris, you got a long box full.
Let me present you to everyone so you can confess.
You can fess up about what did you steal and at what age did you start touching yourself?
No,
that's not the type of show this is.
I'm joking. Please.
I'm gonna find it because I only really honestly took just one book. What I used to be able to get away with relatively easily from a different store that closed way later on was packs of like cards. There we go.
Cards?
Yep.
Of cards?
Cats.
Yep.
He's still doing that, isn't he? Jesus.
So no, not anymore. But
Like those Marvel masterpieces.
Yeah.
yeah, Marvel masterpieces and stuff.
Show your thing, Chris. Show them off.
So
Best
like,
concept.
and what happened was I had real baggy pants. So I was able to like slide this into my pocket. But this is what I took. I remember.
Oh wow.
It still got the
Oh my
bend from
gosh.
your pocket. Being in your pocket.
Yeah, it's got all these dings and stuff.
Yep, you can see it. It's all good though.
And it's only worth like $1 today. Wow.
And in the other pocket, he had the T-bone steak that he stole from the public store.
He put that in his pants too.
It's just funny. I never was, I never went around just taking stuff like that. Like I was
once walking around with one of my friends, and we went into a bookstore. I had a couple of comics with me. I didn't have any pockets. These are my books. So I thought it would be a good idea and convenient to just like put them like, under my shirt, but in my waistband. So they were out of the way. Right?
Oh, wow.
And they're my books. So I'm looking through, we're like in the magazine area, and this lady comes over and she's looking at me like, what the fuck? And then she leaned over to me and she ripped the books out and like, you stole these, didn't you? I'm like, no, they're my books. And I had to explain to her, not only did they not have them on the shelf, but these were bagged and boarded. None of their magazines were. And I convinced her that obviously they're my books. But that was my only sort of being accused of something like that. But it turned out I was innocent. So
well, that's good.
yeah.
Good job.
Had they asked me,
I
like,
don't know why I thought that was a good idea to store them there in my waistband, like a common thief.
It would have been a different story. Like, do these belong to you? Like, of course it does belong to me.
So all the other times you just get caught.
No, I just never like I only did it one time. I was just like, the cards were just.
No, I'm talking about
the
Jesse.
guy literally, the cards are so easy. The guy just wouldn't look. He was just like, yeah, you just wait for him to turn around, like, and then just just sit there and just take it. It's just, I was young though. I was like at that point, I was only about like 10, and I was like, I don't got $2 for a pack of cards. I just take this. And the funny part was my mother's the one that caught me. She's just like, what is all this? Where'd you get all these today? I was like, and she's like, did you take these? I'm like, yeah.
Stop lying, Chris. You told me about
That's
that last year.
hilarious.
You got it. You got that book.
No,
out.
she caught me. You know what? Because it was like one of them stupid things. Like you have it in your jacket pocket or whatever. So you go to hang it up, and she's just like, well, what are these? I'm like, what do you mean? What is what? And then she pulled them out, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh, snap.
She's like, don't you do that? I raised you better than that. And blah, 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 blah. So,
Oh man.
She didn't make you go back to the store and
no,
return.
no, she wasn't stupid. Like, I was, you don't go back and you just sit there and get yelled at. You go back, and then, people, because she knew I liked the store and everything. She wasn't going to sit there and, she just made sure that, I knew how wrong I was, and I just didn't do it anymore. So, but
You live and learn.
yep.
Yeah,
Like I said before, don't steal.
that's right.
Feeling's bad and good.
Bad.
Good.
All right, guys. Well, let's get to that time of the show where we can go around and give some final thoughts here and shout outs if you got them,
All right.
or any other type of words of wisdom you want to.
How about a shout out to Jose for showing up?
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
I'm back.
The
Good to
pleasure
have you
was
back,
all
man.
yours. I mean, all mine.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool to have you here. It was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
been a while.
Thanks for this.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
But yeah, I just want to thank everybody in the chat for showing up and everything. Thank everybody on the panel. It has been a really fun show, and other than what we stated today about comics and all that jazz, just gonna go with, like I always say, just have fun collecting. What you do, always just happy collecting and all that. And this is one other piece of information I'll impart is if you have a light week in comics and you don't have many new issues coming out, look for some back issues. Throw some money, into some of the other stuff. Collect some runs, get that going. Just because not every week is going to be one where you have to get all new comics. Sometimes there's weeks where they're light. So if you have a light week and you look at the next week, because every I guess every week they have a preview of the next week, so you can check and see what's coming out next. And if you know it's gonna be a couple light weeks, get some back issues and then pick up everything on the next week. You know what I mean? That's my word of wisdom. That's what I'm leaving you guys with. So, and don't steal.
Thank you for the words of wisdom.
You're welcome.
Can I go next?
Absolutely.
Please, can I go next? I just want to say thanks a lot, guys, for having me on. It's always fun hanging out with you guys and this and that. It's been a while, been busy and such. But I did a quick Google if I could find a mugshot, but I wasn't able to find a mugshot. But I found the day after he was let out of prison for stealing those cards. This is the day after he got.
He got a woman right after he got out of prison. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, me and my wife saw this game to celebrate. that was fun, like 3 years ago.
That's how they met. They were pen pals while he was in prison.
That's his parole officer.
No.
But yeah, it's fun, man. Like always hanging out with you guys, talking about shooting the shit, talking comic books. And thanks to all the chat rumors.
All right.
Okay, I guess I'll go. Yeah, it was definitely fun. Shout out to everybody in the panel. Kingdom Comics, Comically Flawed, Jason Smith, and a few other people that I didn't really keep up with because I was doing other things. But shout out to everybody in the panel. Don't steal comics. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. If you don't steal comics, it's not worth it. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. That's it, everybody.
And don't steal COD. Don't steal any COD.
Just don't steal. I'll just say a big thanks to everybody for showing up. Jose, Edwin jumped in here, but Comically Flawed, everybody who was in the chat, Jason, I can't even name everybody. There were so many. So we had a really good mix, everybody just running through all night. So I thought that was really good. Along the same lines of what Chris was saying and what everybody's been saying, if you're having a light week, definitely pick up some back issues.
Like never have enough 337s.
That's you cannot, or even beyond that point, take Beta Ray Bill for example. Like I've just kind of I've found out that there's all these mini series that he did, and all these one shots and stuff like that. So I've got a whole new avenue of books that I want to look for now. So there's you can always expand or go further into your collection. Just pick something else you like. So do it.
All right. So yeah, I'll say crazy how the chat's been going off. I love seeing that. So big part of the show, big contribution there, and we can't do it without you guys. So thank you. Yeah. So like they're saying, don't steal. Be nice at your conventions. Get your books. Have fun reading them, and buy the ones you love. That'll do it for today, guys. This is another Comic Conversation, episode 25. See you next week, everybody.
Jesse doesn't pay us to be on the panel.
He's stealing.
Have a good one.